Hey everybody, all you instructors out there of respiratory therapy programs. I'm Dennis Stanley with LindseyJones. I'm the president of LindseyJones, and I'm just in my office this morning. Decided at the last minute to do a quick little video about the 2027 changes that are coming to the NBRC exam. I know that's on your mind, and you must be wondering what changes are going to happen, what's that test going to be like. And then from a LindseyJones perspective, we want to just tell you just a couple of things that we're doing to prepare for that change and how it's going to come about. I know that we don't know all the answers. Nobody does. The NBRC still hasn't released everything. I did have a conversation with the NBRC the other day. I thought they were very forthcoming. They answered all my questions, so I was thankful for that. But just a couple of things that we know so far from the NBRC is that the matrix, or the detailed content outline for 2027 tests, has not yet been released as of the date of this video. The inference is that they're going to be released in the very beginning of 2026. We'll watch for that. We'll jump on that. But we do know enough about the exam also that we can start preparing for that now. So one of the things that we also learned from the NBRC that many of you probably know is that really the questions are going to be divided into two areas. And one of those areas is breadth of knowledge. And we think that that's going to replace basically what we used to call the recall and application questions. And then the other area is clinical judgment. What the NBRC has figured out, as you know, they are going to get rid of the clinical simulation exam on 2027. But what they figured out, the reason why they're doing that is because there was a highly strong correlation between what a student would do and perform on the analysis questions, which we think now are going to be called clinical judgment, and how they did on the clinical simulation. Meaning if they got high enough scores on the analysis questions, that was highly correlated with them passing the clinical simulations. So what they've taught us is that they may not need to do a clinical simulation exam as long as they seriously test clinical judgment and look at that closely. And so that's really what's going to happen. Those are the two different areas. Now, I will certainly make a lot more videos as we get more information, maybe every couple of weeks or every week, who knows, as we draw closer. But I'll make more videos on what we're doing and what we learn about that exam so that you're prepared. But let me just tell you a couple things we're doing now. One thing is that we're sensitive of the 2027 test. We recognize that people will be in school preparing for that test, but it won't be out yet. It'll be 2026. And so what we're going to do at LindseyJones is we're going to make sure LindseyJones is altered well enough so that if you have students in 2026, about mid-year 2026, you're going to have the ability to call up LindseyJones and say, hey, my LindseyJones University, for this group over here, I want them to see the 2027 material. And so we'll be ready by the middle of 2026 with that. The other thing that we're doing, and this is something that we're about to release right now, or in just a couple of months, is that we are already changing our database of questions. So if you don't know, we have thousands of questions in our database. We have lots of TMC form exams, and then we also have other questions that people can use in our database as they prepare for the examination. All of our exams are very balanced matrix, so when you take one of our exams, your student does that, it's the same number, same proportion of questions that are on the actual exam. But one of the things we're doing is we're just finishing going through every single question that we have in our database. And just to give you a hint, it looks like we will make about 20,000 changes. Now, some of those changes may be small and a wording here and there. We're retiring some of the therapies that you're used to seeing. For instance, IPV kind of lasted on the exam way longer than anybody imagined, but we do think things like that will disappear forever. We'll have to watch and see, but we're making those kind of changes to update to the new nomenclature, the phraseology, and certainly the new equipment and some of the new therapies that are there. We've also retired about 826 questions that we think are, well, they're just long in the tooth and they're ready to go by. And then we're adding no less than about 1,000 to 1,500 new questions. Most of them will be very complex, interesting questions in clinical judgment. And then, of course, with all of our questions, we have detailed rationale. Now, the interesting thing is we're going to produce the first part of that. We hope to release that at the end of April and the beginning of May. And so that's just some of the things that we're doing to prepare for the 2027 test. Just to recap, we will be ready for content in the middle of 2026 so that you have students there, you can have them start preparing for the 2027 test because they're going to graduate and take that test as well. So we'll keep you updated, but this is Dennis Stanley. I'm president of Lindsey Jones. And if you have any questions, call our office. Be happy to give you a tour of LindseyJones University if you're not using it already, or if you just have questions on how to maximize your ability to capitalize on that tool, let us know. We'll be happy to work with you. We'll see you later.